Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, January 28th, 5:26 a.m. Central Time. Grain markets are mixed this morning. March corn futures up 1 at 483. March soybeans down 1 3/4 at 1043 1/4. March Chicago wheat up 2 at 537 1/2. March Kansas City wheat unchanged at 553 1/4. March spring wheat up 1.5 at 587 1/4. Believe it or not, we're going to start with some tariff news today.
So, President Trump's tariff plans are not set in stone. The Financial Times reported yesterday that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is pushing for new universal tariffs on U.S. imports that would start at 2.5% and rise gradually. This plan contrasts directly with previous Trump comments regarding 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico as early as this weekend. One person familiar with the situation said there is not a single plan the president is ready to decide on yet.
I don't think anybody has a clue what's actually going to happen, even over the next 3 or 4 days. Scott Bessent, who I believe to be a pretty smart dude, is pushing for this 2.5% universal tariff, which would increase, I believe, on a monthly basis. And the logic behind this is kind of twofold. The first one is to allow adjustment periods. If you phase this stuff in, it gives businesses and foreign countries essentially time to adapt their supply chains, their operations, and it will minimize economic disruption. And that's a good thing for us. We don't want our farm or grain economy disrupted. We don't need grain shipments disrupted. We don't need export sales disrupted. So I like that piece of it. The second part is to facilitate negotiations. If you start off gradual, maybe it creates a more amicable environment with our foreign counterparts and maybe leads to negotiation and ultimately some trade deals so that we can avoid tariffs. That being said, I mean, there was another report yesterday in the Journal. Trump aides are still talking about Saturday for 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. And then I think that goes along with the 10% increase on China as well. So long story short, I don't think anybody knows, but I do think that Scott Bessent has Trump's ear, and we'll see if that leads to anything.
Canada's former finance minister is advocating for a united global response to President Donald Trump's proposed tariffs. Chrystia Freeland, a candidate seeking to replace Justin Trudeau, said that if she is elected, she would bring together leaders from Mexico, Denmark, Panama, and the EU. The nations would work together to address concerns about national sovereignty and economic stability raised by Trump's policies. Freeland, who has called for a strong response to Trump's proposed tariffs, led Canada's trade negotiations during Trump's first term. She is urging Canada to publish a list of U.S. products that would be targeted in response to the proposed tariffs. A few that she believes that should be on the list include Florida oranges, Wisconsin dairy, and Michigan dishwashers.
So this person is running to replace Trudeau. Is that the story?
Yep, that's correct.
And she wants to create some sort of anti-Trump alliance.
Yes, a global anti-alliance.
Well, have fun with that. I think her list of things to target is interesting. Florida oranges, Wisconsin dairy, Michigan dishwashers, of all things.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Interesting. We'll have fun with that, Canada. Okay.
AgRural reduced its outlook for Brazil's soybean crop yesterday. The group estimates this season's crop at 171 million metric tons, a reduction of 500,000 metric tons from its prior estimate. As of last Thursday, Brazilian farmers had harvested 3.9% of the soybean crop, the lowest level for this time of year since 2021. During the same period last year, farmers had harvested 10.8% of the crop. The delay in soybean harvest is impacting the planting of Brazil's safrinha corn crop. Only 2.2% of the crop was planted as of last Thursday, down significantly from 11.4% during the same week last year.
The forecast is, I would say, generally non-threatening. I think that the talk of delays in the north and excessive rains are overblown. I think if there is a problem, it's probably with the drier conditions in the south. They did catch some rains in southern Brazil over the weekend, but now the 14-day forecast for the far southern areas of Brazil is kind of dry. I still see this as being a situation where the crop is going to be very good. I'd put the over-under at 170. Maybe it's slightly above that. Maybe it's slightly below that at this point in time. Argentina may be your bigger issue. Rainfall is going to be more normal-ish over the next 2 weeks, according to this map from our friends at Crop Profit. However, there are pockets that are going to remain problematic. I think the corn crop in Argentina may be an even bigger issue. They've got that leaf hopper issue that we've discussed several times, which seems to be a bad deal. So I don't know. I feel like Argentina's got some downward risk with regard to production, whereas the Brazilian soybean crop, at least, I think it's going to fall somewhere around 170.
So if you guys have not checked out our premium content, you sure need to do so. Joe, can you tell me about yesterday's premium video?
I did a study on what happens historically when the funds go long, net long, 300,000 contracts of corn, which happened for the first time officially in this cycle as of last Tuesday, or the most recent CFTC reporting period. What's next? I was shocked by what I found with regard to what happens next in regard to corn prices after the funds go long 300,000 contracts. I was not actually ready for what I found, and it's a little bit counter to what I believe is to be the narrative. I know I'm being vague here, but that's the idea. I can't give everything away for free, guys. If you want to see the premium stuff, go to standardgrain.com. You can sign up this morning. I had a ton of positive feedback on that video yesterday. I think people were very interested in that topic. Sign up this morning. I'll forward you a copy of this morning's email, which includes that video, along with our 6 most recent premium videos, all of our charts, graphics, headlines. My cash grain marketing recommendations are at the bottom every single business day. $50 a month, cancel at any time, no other fee, no other obligation. Nobody will try to sell you anything else. We'll never call you. We'll only talk to you if you want to talk via email or text. If you have questions, that's it. Takes about 30 seconds to sign up. Give it a shot this morning, guys.
Limited supply caused Russian wheat prices to rise last week. According to Russian consultancy ICAR, prices are being supported by a diminishing supply. However, demand is limited. Prices are projected to remain stable or slightly decline. Meanwhile, Paris wheat fell to its lowest level since early December on Monday. A weak export outlook, along with global market uncertainty, weighed on prices. Argentina's decision to cut grain export taxes sparked concerns about stronger competition in an already weak international market. Additionally, concerns over possible trade tensions resurfaced as President Trump had a standoff with Colombia on Sunday. Reports regarding the condition of this year's Russian wheat crop are variable.
The wheat market has acted incredibly poorly. I think that the SRW contracts and maybe the spring wheat contracts as well, they're at risk of posting fresh lows for this entire move this week. We're like 10 cents away in this March SRW contract. The Russian wheat crop, I think, has some problems. As of last month, the analysts over there reported that 37% of the wheat crop was in poor condition and that only 31% of the crop was in good condition. And that was the lowest in 23 years for the amount in good condition. Now, Russia is, of course, the world's top wheat exporter. I had a chart somewhere. I guess I didn't throw it in. Russia's the top wheat exporter. And you would think that this would matter, but it doesn't matter to the funds. They're sitting net short about 90,000 contracts of wheat. And the funds don't like to be long SRW wheat. It has seemed to me over time that funds like to be short wheat against sometimes a long position in corn or long position in soybeans. So maybe at some point the Russian weather thing matters. Maybe the winter kill that supposedly happened here in the U.S. matters at some point. It just doesn't seem to matter today.
U.S. corn shipments were strong last week. USDA reported that 49 million bushels of corn were inspected for export during the week ending January 23rd. The print was down 19% compared to the previous week, but up 35% versus the same week last year. Soybean shipments fell below pre-report expectations at 27 million bushels. The print was down 26% from the prior week and down 20% compared to the same week last year. Wheat shipments surpassed expectations at 18 million bushels. The print was up 85% from the previous week and up 71% versus the same week last year.
Excellent corn shipment number. We're kind of out ahead of where we would typically be. Primetime soybean shipping season is over, and that was actually a very poor seasonal print for soybeans, but we had some really good seasonal prints prior to this. So I think everything is kind of where it needs to be in order to hit USDA projections right now, and I don't really have a reason to believe otherwise.
The world's largest meat processor has entered the egg industry. JBS has purchased a 50% stake in South America's leading egg producer. News of the acquisition caused the meat giant stocks to gain nearly 3% on Monday. JBS said the purchase was made due to the egg industry's growth in Brazil and worldwide. Brazilian authorities still need to approve the deal. Egg prices have skyrocketed due to the ongoing bird flu outbreak. The outbreak, along with inflation, is expected to push prices even higher this year, with some analysts predicting a 20% increase for eggs. And to put that in perspective, food prices in general this year are only anticipated to increase 2.2%.
The price of eggs is like a hot button political issue because I think the people on the left keep citing it as like, hey, where's Trump's action? Egg prices are still high.
Right, exactly. And
It's
JD
pretty
Vance, I
early.
think
It's pretty early, but
it was said in an interview that they were going to lower egg prices, which I actually don't think that's possible, because as long as this bird flu keeps rolling, we're not going to see that come down anytime soon.
so the bird flu is the entirety that's the reason.
Yeah, exactly. Our laying hen herds have just been diminished because they've killed so many birds to try to stop the spread of this disease, and those just need to be rebuilt, and it's just going to be a matter of time before we see that happen.
Yeah, might be a while.
Exactly. USDA reported a flash sale of corn on Monday. U.S. exporters sold 5 million bushels of corn to Mexico for delivery during the current marketing year. Accumulated corn sales are up 29% compared to the same period last year. Mexico continues to buy U.S. corn despite the tariff threat.
Yeah, interesting. It's not a big sale, but Mexico's been our largest buyer of corn this year. As I mentioned yesterday, Mexico still has like 300 million bushels of unshipped U.S. corn purchases that I suppose if there's a tariff spat or back and forth or retaliation, maybe that's at risk. But I'll tell you what, you look at the markets, I mean, large money managers aren't concerned about the tariff risk. They're heavy along the corn market. They're modest along the soybean market. They're just not concerned. I don't know. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're wrong. I think people, I don't know that anybody has a great feel for the tariff situation. What did cattle do yesterday?
Cattle futures were mixed. Live cattle were down 47 cents to 90 cents higher. Feeders saw losses ranging from 42 cents all the way down to $1.32, with the exception of spot month January gaining 102. Box beef was higher yesterday. Choice gained 216 at 330.08. Select was up 426 at 320.55.
Outside markets, the U.S. dollar is higher too. I'll call it sharply higher this morning. Stock market's attempting a rebound after yesterday's sell-off. The S&P's up 14. The Dow actually did finish higher yesterday. It's about flat this morning. NASDAQ's up 90 points. Bonds are off a little bit. Crude oil is up 41 cents in the March WTI at 73.58. Have a great day, guys. We'll be back on Wednesday.